As World War II escalated, the race to build powerful navies pushed major powers to cast aside peacetime treaty limits and prioritize speed and combat readiness. For the United States, this shift led to the birth of the Cleveland-class light cruisers, warships that took the proven Brooklyn-class design and pushed it further with more firepower and greater displacement, fast, heavily armed, and versatile. The Cleveland class became the most widely built light cruiser series in U.S. Navy history, serving on the front lines in roles ranging from air defense to amphibious support and coastal bombardment. Leading to the class was USS Cleveland CL-55, a ship that captured the spirit of wartime innovation after early action in the Atlantic during the North African campaign. It was sent to the Pacific, where it fought in some of the fiercest battles of the island-hopping strategy. With its modern systems and flexible mission profile, USS Cleveland carved out a place among the most iconic American warships of the global conflict. The birth of USS Cleveland CL-55 was more than just the result of a blueprint. It was a swift response to a world spiraling into war. In the late 1930s, the United States, like other major powers, was still bound to the Second London Naval Treaty, which limited the displacement of light cruisers to 8,000 long tons. But when war broke out, those rules vanished overnight. Freed from peacetime constraints, U.S. naval architects faced a new priority: to design a new generation of warships, stronger, faster, and easier to mass produce. Faced with this challenge, the U.S. Navy made a bold yet pragmatic choice. Instead of starting from scratch, they built upon the proven Brooklyn-class hull, modifying it to create a new design with heavier firepower and significantly enhanced anti-aircraft capability. That decision gave rise to the Cleveland class, a clear symbol of America's shift from treaty-bound restraint to full-scale wartime mobilization. At the forefront of that transformation stood a name soon to earn its place in naval history: USS Cleveland. The name USS Cleveland officially entered the history books on May 17, 1938, when the order for her construction was signed. The ship was assigned to the New York Shipbuilding Corporation in Camden, New Jersey, an experienced yard known for its rapid production pace. Keel laying began on July 1, 1940, and just over a year later, on November 1, 1941, the ship was launched, carrying with it the promise of a new design generation and America's growing ambition to command the seas. On June 15, 1942, USS Cleveland was officially commissioned under the command of Captain E. W. Burrow. From that moment, the ship sailed straight into the fiercest years of World War II, serving actively across both major theaters from the Atlantic to the vast expanse of the Pacific. USS Cleveland CL-55, the lead ship of the Cleveland-class light cruisers, embodied the U.S. Navy's vision for a multi-role warship during World War II. Born in the midst of blazing Pacific conflict, the Cleveland was designed as a balance of heavy firepower, superior anti-aircraft defense, and long-range endurance, key elements for controlling vast maritime theaters. Measuring nearly 186 meters in length, over 20 meters in beam, and with a draft of approximately 7.47 meters, the ship had a standard displacement of more than 11,700 long tons, rising to over 14,100 long tons when fully loaded. This margin of more than 2,000 tons reflected the cruiser's ability to carry fuel, ammunition, and supplies for prolonged operations, an essential feature for missions far from supply bases. Powered by 4 General Electric steam turbines and 4 Babcock and Wilcox boilers, the propulsion system delivered a total of 100,000 shaft horsepower that allowed the Cleveland to reach a top speed of 32.5 knots, fast enough to keep pace with fleet carriers. With an operational range of up to 11,000 nautical miles at 15 knots, the ship could undertake extended missions independently or provide long-duration escort without the need for frequent resupply. In terms of firepower, the Cleveland was armed with 12 152mm 6-inch main guns arranged in 4 triple turrets, allowing for simultaneous salvos from both the bow and stern. Complementing this was a battery of 12 dual-purpose 127mm 38 caliber guns, effective against both surface and aerial threats, especially lethal when paired with radar-fused shells, a groundbreaking innovation of the time. Close-in air defense was provided by 8 40mm Bofors guns mounted in 2 quadruple mounts, along with 13 20mm Oerlikon cannons positioned along the hull. This layered defense network enabled the Cleveland to hold its own during intense aerial assaults, particularly against kamikaze attacks later in the war. Initially, the ship carried 4 float planes for reconnaissance and artillery spotting, launched via 2 catapults mounted at the stern. However, as the war progressed, 1 catapult and several light guns were removed, likely to improve stability or to make space for additional anti-aircraft weaponry. The modification reflected a flexible design philosophy shaped by real-world combat experience. Armor protection on USS Cleveland was concentrated around vital areas. The ship's belt armor ranged from 89 to 127mm in thickness, encircling the hull. The deck was reinforced with 51mm of armor plating. The main gun turrets featured frontal armor of up to 170mm thick, while the conning tower was shielded by 127mm of armor, ensuring the commander's safety in the event of a direct hit. Operating a complex warship like the USS Cleveland required a crew of 1,285 officers and enlisted personnel. These sailors were responsible for managing weapon systems, radar, propulsion, communications, and aviation operations. Such a large crew size reflected the high demands for training, specialization, and coordination, underscoring the U.S. Navy's deep investment in naval warfare during a truly global conflict. USS Cleveland CL-55 was one of the U.S. Navy's premier light cruisers during World War II, playing a pivotal role in both the Atlantic and Pacific theaters. With powerful firepower, high speed, and exceptional combat versatility, the ship participated in a wide range of major operations, from amphibious support and convoy escort to coastal bombardments and fleet engagements. Throughout the war, Cleveland took part in nearly every key campaign in the Pacific and earned 13 battle stars and a Navy unit commendation. Commissioned in 1942, the ship was quickly deployed into action. In November of that year, Cleveland participated in Operation Torch, delivering naval gunfire in support of Allied landings at Fedhala, Morocco, targeting Axis coastal defenses in North Africa. Just a month later, in December 1942, the cruiser departed Norfolk en route to the Pacific Theater. By January 1943, Cleveland was escorting convoys to Guadalcanal and took part in the Battle of Rennell Island, where the heavy cruiser USS Chicago was sunk under a fierce Japanese air assault. By March 1943, USS Cleveland took part in the shelling of Japanese air bases at Colombanangara and played a key role in the Battle of Blackett Strait, where it joined destroyers in sinking the Japanese ships Minegumo and Marasame. Following the engagement, the cruiser was sent to Sydney for maintenance before returning to the Solomon Islands for continued operations. A major highlight came in early November 1943, when Cleveland bombarded the Buca and Bones airfields before engaging in the Battle of Express Augusta Bay. In this complex nighttime clash, the ship delivered outstanding combat performance and was awarded a Navy Unit Commendation for its pivotal contribution. From late 1943 to mid-1944, Cleveland remained in the thick of the action, supporting the Emerald Islands landings and participating in the Marianas Campaign. Notably, it provided fire support during the Battle of the Philippine Sea, one of the most decisive naval battles in the Pacific War. In the final stages of the conflict, the cruiser supported operations to retake the Philippines, destroy Japanese merchant vessels, and escorted Allied convoys. After the war ended, Cleveland joined the occupation forces in Tokyo Bay and received the Navy Occupation Service Medal. In total, USS Cleveland earned 13 battle stars for major campaigns, cementing its reputation as one of the most active and effective light cruisers of the U.S. Navy during World War II. USS Cleveland CL-55 stood as a prime example of the modern light cruiser, designed to meet the demands of total war. With an optimized structure, powerful armament, and high mobility, the ship demonstrated remarkable versatility across various theaters, serving in support, escort, and direct combat roles from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Cleveland's combat record, most notably in the battles of Rennell Island, Blackett Strait, and Express Augusta Bay, played a key role in the broader success of the U.S. Navy. Though decommissioned shortly after the war, the ship was awarded 13 battle stars and a Navy Unit Commendation, cementing its legacy as a symbol of American naval engineering and fighting spirit during World War II.